Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about the Sunday night football matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, we're going to break this down from a side, total, and I'll give you guys two props that I do like in this matchup. This is one where it's going to be interesting because the Bengals, for all accounts, have been very explosive, even though not winning against Baltimore, just delivering quite substantially on in the prop market. All right, so I'm going to break this game down and give you guys my best bets and get you on your way. But before we do, make sure you guys all like, comment, and subscribe right down below. Totally free to do so. It's basically like you're following me here on YouTube. Always turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a beat when I do drop new videos with my picks. The picks are totally free, but if you want to get back to the channel, become a TBM channel member today. Also, we do have a free Discord, and we will be showing you guys the picks with Outlier because that is my favorite betting platform to use to compile data information and make the best bet possible. So if you want a 7-day free trial, there is a link down below for Outlier, okay? With that being said, let's get down into it. We're going to look into this game. I will pull up the Outlier board where we can look at the Bengals coming in as now a 1-point underdog in this matchup, okay? This number has dropped a little bit. It did open up as high as 2.5. I think that we did not touch 3. But the Chargers here, there's a reason why they are favorites in this game. Now, another thing worth noting is that I am a big fan of the under in this spot. Not only is it a prime time under, where I do like to bet that, it is something where I think that the Chargers, they are number one in scoring defense, okay, in terms of points allowed per game. If we want to look at that from a number standpoint, you want to compile it, well, they averaged 33.8 points. That is considerably lower per game. That's for both parties. That's considerably lower than any other team in the NFL. Right now, I think that total set way too high at 48.5. So we're going to attack this in the same game teaser method. That's what I like to deploy for primetime matchups quite a bit. Okay, so we're going to get into that right now. Also, you can see the money line. Basically, probably more so the way that you want to approach this. If you like the Bengals, take them plus 106 on the money line. If you like the Chargers, minus 20 there is the best number available on Bet ESPN. Okay, in terms of the money line, you can see more of the handle is on the Bengals as well. Quite frankly, the Chargers is one of the more public numbers out there. There's a lot of people on that minus 1. Excuse me. It's one of the bets there for this week. We see this. It's a big play across the board, not just for betting individual games, but in season-long contests. The Chargers are one of those favorite teams, and I kind of understand it, right? The Bengals have a short number. They have been a very good team on the road, 5-0 against the number as we look at the Bengals in those road splits. I want to get into some of the numbers here as we look into Outlier. I'm going to pull this up on your board, okay? And that's where we can look into kind of what we're seeing from a team perspective. And I want to kind of go down the board and show you guys this. This is one that is very glaring to me. The under is hit in 13 of the last 15 Chargers games as they were favorites. Now, I don't really consider this short number an actual spot where I consider the Chargers a favorite. It's more so if you want to do the math on this. I know there's no points for home field anymore. It's like 1.5 if you want to look into it in today's numbers. But it used to be that whole idea where the home team gets 3 points for being at home. I don't really see it being that way. The Bengals on the road are definitely the better cover team. Kind of how I feel about it. But this is where you look at this number being 13 out of the 15 last games. As a favorite, the under has cashed. I'm going to get on board with that because what I look for the Chargers to do, this is something where you talk about kind of the deficiencies that the Bengals now have within their offensive line. It's gotten worse, okay? So I think that the Bengals are going to find themselves in a lot of third and longs. There's going to be a ton of sacks against Burrow. He's going to have to get the ball out quick. There's going to be a lot of, I guess you would say, air attempts per play, air yardage per play. I think it's going to be a lot of short to intermediate passing. It sets up nicely for the tight end, Mike Gesicki. That's where we're going to get into the prop market. The Chargers, though, don't give up too many points, and they're pretty good against guarding the tight ends. So I will kind of talk about that a little bit later. But this is something where this could be the matchup that we've seen in recent times. You know, the way that it's teed up and set up, right, in this draft class in 2020. Burrow and Herbert, you know, they were the darlings. They were basically 1A, 1B. And initially out the gate, before Burrow made his Super Bowl appearance, Justin Herbert was the bet for everybody to have the most success throughout the course of the season. Now, something else we have to talk about is injuries. Chase Brown and Orlando Brown for the Bengals both remain kind of what's the big question here, and how healthy is this Bengals team? Kind of why I'm not diving all in on the Bengals right here in this short number, okay? Quite frankly, I do like the Bengals. I like them +1 just because of the fact that you could get some kind of weird game where, they may lose 21-20, something like that with a lot of field goals in play. I definitely think that's going to be the angle that I'm taking. The Chargers have a lot of defensive advantages when we look at the numbers. You want to talk about the matchup. Let's put it into perspective here. The Chargers right now are top 10 in a lot of defensive categories as we look at that. Number 1 in scoring, like we talked about, only giving up 13.1 points per game. On average, you could talk about this red zone efficiency, third down conversions, first downs allowed, top 10 in passing yards and rushing yards on defense, top 10 in yards per play, okay, almost top 10 in turnovers per game. We look at sacks, they're third in sacks per game at 3.4. They do not really, it's kind of crazy though that they're only 20th in quarterback hits, hurries, and they're dead last in the hurries. So I do look for this game to be kind of an outlier in terms of those metrics. I think they get to Burrow pretty easily. The game will be kind of, run the ball, short passes, dink and dumps. I think that Herbert, a lot of people are betting on him to have a great offensive output. The number set at 230 for his passing yards. That's something that we could look into within his dropbacks. I think there is a window where he does get over 250, but I really think that the Chargers are going to look to run the football. I don't want to get into the J.K. Dobbins narrative and the Gus Edwards narrative because that is seemingly becoming more of a 50-50 split there in the backfield. A little bit more so than it was before during the early part of the season when Gus Edwards was out with injury. Okay, the Bengals defense also on the other side of the argument, they have gotten better. So we'll talk about that a little bit. These numbers tell the whole season story, but the Chargers, they can move the football. They are very good offensively. I love Ladd McConkey. I wanted to bet some McConkey props, but right now they have the numbers right where they need to be. So for a slot receiver, I'm not going to look to get in bed with that. You can find 4.5 over it with his receptions, but he's pretty much averaging 5 or 6. So it's kind of like a little room for error. His yardage too, I think it's 59. I'm not looking to get involved with that. A couple other things we could talk about is the avenue where Jamar Chase has been absolutely fantastic within touchdowns, okay? I just don't think we see it here. It's pretty much get Jamar Chase the ball, and he gets you into the end zone. If you want to bet Jamar Chase to get in the end zone, fine. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'll never tell you what to bet. However, the Chargers, albeit, are a top 10 scoring defense, and Jamar Chase against top 10 scoring defenses has not found the end zone. It's a very low percentage. So I'm going to stay away from that. It's more of a stay away game for me. There's only a few ways I'm going to approach this, and that's what we're going to get into right now. For me, this is kind of where we look into kind of the props that I do like, okay? And this first prop I do like is Cameron Dicker, okay? And we're going to take this, and I'm going to pull it up here for you guys. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. Over 7.5 kicking points, okay? He's had in his last 5 games, 16, 12, 10. He had an outlier against Kansas City, a great defense there with only 4, and then 8 and 9 respectively against New Orleans and Tennessee. I think that he gets 2 field goals in this game, and I think that we do get a Chargers touchdown, so that would lead towards 7. But I also think there's an avenue where it's 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, cash to bet, or we get 3 field goals in itself, and then it's a low-scoring affair. And I think that's something where you look in the last 6 games, his 83% cover rate. Cameron Dicker, give me that over 7.5 kicking points at -111. That's one of my favorite props of the day. Also, the Mike Gesicki number, that's what we're going to look into. I think that you talk about it, and we can find the Chargers here ranking 10th. So not really a plus matchup in receiving yards allowed. But if we look at it versus tight ends, okay, it's middle of the pack. It's 18, more so slanted in the direction in our favor. This is something where I look at it where I do like the prop here. We are going to look at it from an over standpoint. Okay, so this is over Mike Gesicki receiving yards. He's averaging 38.3 a game. His median number is 30.5. And right now at 27.5, I think that Gesicki gets 30. So I'm going over Mike Gesicki receiving yards. I think he gets into the 30s very easily in this spot. And that's where the Bengals look to attack the Chargers defense in the middle of the field. And like I said, I'm staying away from the Jamar Chase stuff. I know it's kind of a weird game to fade him, right? Everything's teed up at prime time. He's been doing extremely well, getting it done offensively offensively, getting into the end zone. I'm going to stay away from that one. And I do want to talk about the last and final bet, and that's where we're going to pull it up here on the odds on my final board, where I do show you guys my final plays. And before I get into it, make sure you guys all like, comment, and subscribe before leaving this video. But that's where we're going to look into the number here in terms of a same-game teaser. Primetime spots, that's what I look to do. I'm going to take 6 points here. I'm going to take the Bengals up to plus 7.5. I give them a touchdown cushion, and the under 54.5, as we talked about a little bit earlier, is that under has been a very profitable avenue to go down in these games. So those are my best bets. Couple that with the Dicker kicking points over 7.5 and Gesicki 27.5 over his receiving yards. Those will be my best bets for Sunday Night Football. Okay, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll have videos up for the full board if you're watching this early, as well as the anytime touchdown scores with Joey D. We will see you guys over on Discord as well. Good luck with your picks. We'll see you guys all tomorrow for Monday Night Football. Cheers.